All right, we are live. We got music going. I'll turn that down a little
do.
bit, like in my ears. But hey, everybody, and welcome to AOLCC Live. We're talking about mental health today, which is a really cool topic. I'm really excited to go through it. And we are joined. We've got a couple guests with us. We've got Melissa, as usual. Melissa got a haircut. She looks wonderful. So
You?
everybody say love your haircut in the chat. And we also have Karen Ellison. Karen is our Director of Culture and Engagement at Academy of Learning. And we have Cheryl Longeway. And Cheryl is our instructor for our community service worker programs. And she's award winning. And I had written down the name of the award. Give me 1 second. It's on, wait for it. Don't interrupt me. I'll find it. I think I'll find it. She won an award. AOLCC. Know where I'm looking? I'm going on to our Instagram. If you don't follow us on Instagram, we're my AOLCC, at my AOLCC, and you can go like the picture of Cheryl. She won Instructor Excellence, the Instructor Excellence Award from the Alberta Association of Career Colleges, which is a huge honor. And you can go on to our Instagram if you don't follow us yet and go like that picture and say, yeah, Cheryl's awesome. So we're excited to be joined by both Cheryl and Karen talking about mental health. This month is going to be a month-long focus on mental health. So as we do more live streams and events, that is kind of the focus. And we'll also be talking a little bit about our community service worker programs and a couple other things that we do to support our students, our staff, and the local community over the next month. We do have a couple promotions for me to run through before we get into the main content. As you probably know, if you've watched some of these before, now is a great time if you're a current student or anybody to refer a friend to Academy of Learning. If you refer a friend to us and they start a program, you'll get $500, which is awesome. But until the end of March, the person you refer, when they start their program, they're going to get a free laptop. So it's like extra incentive to refer your friends or to join. So anybody you refer, you get $500, they get a free laptop. If you're not a student yet and you're just watching this and you're interested in finding a career you love and training with us, you don't need to be referred. You'll still get a free laptop. Everybody who starts gets a free laptop when their program starts to help them go through their program. So that's pretty cool. Also, we've got two big events happening this month that you're going to want to pay attention to. One is, I don't even know what we're calling it, Karen. We'll have to come up with a title. But Karen teaches, is one of our instructors for our Thought Patterns for a Successful Career program or course, which every student goes through. And there's some really cool stuff in there. So we're going to be doing a workshop on, I don't know whether we're going to call it a workshop on mental health, but an actual thing at the end of the month. So stay tuned for that. It'll be either like maybe relating to building affirmations or how to like get in the mental space for success, something like that. So we're going to have a workshop at the end of the month. We'll have more details on that probably next week. And this one's really cool. Just started happening or getting organized yesterday. What day is today? Wednesday? Yesterday. We're going to be doing a massive career fair open house March 31st. And we are having, and this is for all of our campuses across Alberta, we're having employers come in. And so our current students, our alumni are going to come in and network with real employers. And we're inviting everybody within the community to come meet some great businesses, obviously learn about Academy of Learning, but actually do some connection. Because one of the big things that we proclaim over and over again is the reason that we exist is to actually help people get jobs. If people come to our college and they don't get a job in the end, it's just like, what's the point? And so being able to meet some of our current employers, some of the people who run our practicum sites, learn about jobs, and then also learn about the types of programs, that's all happening March 31st. That's a Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. More details will be coming. And last announcement is we're giving away $25 again. So good on you for joining us. And here is going to be how you can enter to win $25. Leave your best mental health tip in a comment. So that could be, I don't know, what's my best mental health tip? Write a to-do list. That actually helps me. So it could be anything. It could be listen to some chill music, could be download the Calm app, could be journaling, could be whatever. But whatever your favorite mental health tip is, drop that in the comments. And by doing that, you will be entered to win $25. And with all that, I'm going to pass it over to Melissa, and she's got some questions that we're going to ask to our panel, Karen and Cheryl, today, and talk about mental health.
Okay, beautiful. So the first question is for both of you, and I think mental health has become more, like, everyone's become more aware of it, especially with the pandemic, and the world is a crazy place right now, and then there's so many things going on in personal lives too, as always. So the first question is, why is mental health so important? Why should we pay attention to it and work on it all the time? And either of you can go first, whoever wants.
I'll jump in. It is super important because it affects every aspect of our life, really. It can affect also your physical health. And for me, it's a big thing to stay clear. And it can take a lot of different things. So Jamie was saying your favorite one. Hopefully everybody's using more than one thing to calm and relieve stress and feel ready and able to do whatever it is that we need to do in our lives to help our children, to be able to focus at work. All of those things are just so important.
Right. And when we take care of our own mental health, then we can, help the others around us too. It's not just us that it's important for, it's our communities and our connections as well.
Definitely.
What about you, Cheryl?
So I would say the same as Karen. I think it's really important to recognize that 5 out of 5 people have mental health. We always hear the words mental health and we go to the place of, oh, well, that's not me, but we all have mental health. And it's very different than mental illness. So I think we just have to really, sort of separate those and identify what is our mental health, and to remember, and I think it's so important, everyone's mental health is different. And how we manage our mental health is different in what we do. So really good example. Exercise is great for mental health. It is not great for me. I will be honest. If I'm telling you I'm going jogging, you should be worried. But the next person, that is what their mental health does, right? And so I think it's so important, especially for all of our students and for all our friends and family, that we recognize what our mental health is and what we can do to improve it and how we can change it, and to support other people in that journey as well. And to take the stigma away from talking about mental health and say that, this is something we need to talk about all the time. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. Hey, just to jump in there, you said very briefly, there's a difference between, or mental health is different from mental illness, but oftentimes it is seen that, if I need to work on my mental health, I've got a problem. So how would you define what the difference is between those? And I know that that's probably an hour-long question, but
it is. But the difference between mental health is it's what we do, it's how we function, it's how we feel every day. Mental illness takes place when we're not able to function anymore, right? It's when we're not able to maybe get out of bed and go to school, go to work. Mental illness, 1 in 5 Canadians suffer from mental illness. But you can have mental illness and be doing wonderful and great. There's a really great author, psychologist called Corey Keyes, and he talks about, languishing and flourishing in mental health and in mental illness. And you can have mental health and not be doing well, but you can have a mental illness and be doing great. And so it is very different. And mental illness, it impacts not being able to function every day. And it's usually over a period of time. That's sort of the short version. Jamie, an hour, I could go for 3 or 4 hours on it.
I know you could. Wonderful, thanks.
Okay, so our next question is for Cheryl specifically, but if everyone else has comment away. So it is, why do we offer CSW programs at AOLCC?
Well, our community service worker and addictions program is to help people get into the career of working with other people and providing those support services. And the exciting thing about the community service worker program for us is that it's a huge range. So you can work with parents, you can work with young children, you can work with teens, you can work with seniors, you can work with people with developmental disabilities. There's such a range of age and issues. And so I think this program just really adds to our community. And I really focus in instructing the program, and it's my students' journey as well with their own mental health, and how are they working on themselves in order to help the people they're going to go out and get jobs for in the field. And does that make sense? Did I answer the question?
Yeah, you definitely answered the question. Yeah. So if there's someone out there who thinks that this is something they might be interested in, or that they have a passion for this, what are the next steps that they should take? Is it enrolling? Is it self-reflection? Like, what could that look like for someone?
So, I would say contact Academy of Learning, contact the campus that you're closest to our admissions advisors. I'm sure you guys have that information out there. And talk to an admissions advisor. I am always open and excited to talk to new students if they're looking at it, to have a discussion with them, whether it's by phone or by email, or in person if I'm at the campus that they're at, to talk about, is this the right program for them and what does it look like? Part of the the diploma that they receive is looking at some of that self-reflection as well. In our psychology course, we actually do an extra module on self-care and self-sustainability, and what does it look like, and we're moving it a bit away from the self-care terminology to self-sustainability. So it's a journey, and a lot of my students have said that it is that journey. But if they're interested, talk to an admissions advisor, and let the admissions advisor know that, hey, I'd like to talk to Cheryl and talk some options, because I'm always thrilled to talk to new potential students. I have such a strong passion about mental health and addiction and changing the system and having people come and to learn and to make the change that that I could go on. Yeah.
We'll have to do a whole live stream just where you can chat about all these things.
That's why,
We'll
Cheryl,
love the
you got
Cheryl
that
show.
award.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, and then one more question just for you, Cheryl, is why are these roles that our graduates are graduating into, why are they so important for our communities? And are there a lot of jobs available? Are people getting hired?
So I would say yes. In fact, most of my students are getting hired, and it's important because especially with coming out of with COVID and all the mental health that's impacted, our students are going out and helping and working with them. We've got students that were just recently hired at a youth shelter in Red Deer, here in Calgary at the Alex, all kinds of places, and they're learning the skills in this program to go and work with those people in the community and support them. And like I said, the great thing about this particular diploma is that you can work with the population that you want, what you want to do. I mean, I've had lots of students get jobs with developmental disabilities, lots of students working in shelters. I've had students working in the school system. It's really, you're able to pick sort of what you want to work on. And the course offers that. So we talk about lifespan development, the different ages and stages of life, and the different mental illnesses that happen at the different ages of life. So we talk about Alzheimer's for seniors. We talk about ADHD for children. We talk about bipolar and borderline personality disorder and the other personality disorders for the entire age range, and what that looks like. And I really try to add to the course, what are some practical skills when you're working with someone who has FASD, for example, right? Like what are you going to do? Not just to have one of the things I love about this course is it's all Canadian content. So all our textbooks are Canadian. It's a great academic place, but I try to add to that course, what are some practical skills? Can you make a life skills session? And that's sort of how we how we do it. And people can focus on the group of people they want to work with their assignments.
I think that's really cool that it's the type of program where you go into it and you're kind of all learning the same thing, but then you could really choose and hone in on, your interests, I guess.
And I think it's important. I mean, I say this all the time, is that, if your passion is to work with seniors, then you target your assignments to seniors so that you have that. If your passion is to work with parents, then we can do that as well. And then we have some guest speakers come in from different, we just had a guest speaker last week from the Central Alberta FASD Network. Actually, it was a past student that presented.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, the other thing that I'll just jump onto that you alluded to and even talked about is people are actually getting jobs. And it's something we talk about all the time on this live stream. The reason that we can even offer programs is because there's a demand for skilled people in our local economy. And so anytime that we start a new program, launch a new program, we have to prove and we have to investigate that there are actual jobs and we're responding to that demand. But I don't know, like how many students do you have right now, Cheryl? Like 50?
Yeah, just over.
Like there's such a demand and you can see it everywhere. I mean, every budget update that you're hearing from both provincially and federally, it's really important. And obviously we're going to talk a little bit more as we continue this discussion on like, hey, what can I do if I'm watching this right now? How do I help me? But there's also many of you who are watching this, like, how do I help others? And the reality is that this is not a volunteer thing. There's plenty of places to volunteer, but this is something where you can actually earn a living while helping people. And it's not just a feel good, it's an actual career that you can build and invest and have career advancement while making a massive contribution to something that's needed in our society.
And the other thing, that I would say to that, Jamie, and I try to instill this in my 13-year-old son, not only are you learning an education, you're helping people, you're getting a job that you love. And I have been blessed to work in this field for, well, I'm not going to tell you because it will age me, but I did do frontline work for 20 years, and I love my job. And that's what I said to my 13-year-old. You may not want to go on and extend your education, but by doing something, by taking that next step and going to school and doing something you love, then you have a job that you love. I loved frontline work for over 20 years, loved it. And I love what I do now. And that's what this education allows, is not only, I have a student who recently got hired in the Red Deer area, and she messaged me yesterday or the day before saying that she absolutely loves what she's doing. And that, as much as, you're getting paid for it, but you're also waking up and liking what you're doing. She did also mention that report writing is coming back to remind her why we take report writing. So that's the other thing too, is that they're coming back there and going, okay, yeah, at the time I didn't see it, but now that I'm in the field, I'm able to actually not only love what I do, but actually do my job because I got the training to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Okay. Karen, are you ready?
I am. I've been pretty quiet.
Okay, so how does AOLCC support the mental health of students and alumni?
Well, we have a lot of things that we do for that aspect. We have student supports, and they help in all different areas. They have resources that they're able to give students. They can come and just talk, right? One big thing for mental health is being able to talk about it. So if somebody needs to have a conversation about what's going on with them, they can come and have that conversation with their student supports, and it's all kept confidential, so they don't need to worry about it. It's in an office. You can come and just sit down and say, hey, or online, you can just call them up and say, I need to chat about something. So that's a really big piece. We also have things like award days. So that's a chance for other students to get together, because a lot of the time it's community that helps when you're feeling down, and then you see other people and you're like, oh, you're going through the same thing. Okay. And you feel like you're part of it. So that's another one. We also offer thought patterns, which Jamie had mentioned, and that one gives a lot of really good tips and techniques and kind of tells you how your mind works and how to help yourself in order to get out of that funk and move forward. So that's just
things.
A few of the things. Yeah.
So why is, we don't have to offer thought patterns. Why is mental health something that's such a central part of AOLCC?
Because we love our students. That's really the best answer I have. We want to make sure that everybody succeeds. And the reason why all of us work here and why we love what we do is because we make a positive impact in the community and with our students, and that outreaches to everywhere else when everybody's healthy and able to do what they want to do with their life and their career. So like Cheryl was saying, when people are happy, that's when it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. So
Love it. Hang on, I'm going to interrupt. For anybody who's just joining now, just a reminder, we're giving away $25. So to enter, and we're going to be, I think this is maybe your next question. Maybe I should have done this after your next question.
No,
Doesn't matter.
do it.
If you just drop, and some of you already have, drop your best mental health tip or what works for you in the comments. And by doing that, you'll get entered to win $25. So I just wanted to remind, because I know some of you have jumped on after we said that. So you can win $25. Enter by adding a comment below the video. Sorry, go ahead, Melissa.
No, that's okay. It was a great segue because the next question is for both of you. And it is, if someone is struggling or going through a hard time, what would you say is your best mental health tip or, action they could take right now to, help them feel a little bit better?
For me, I would say to have a short goal. So something that's really small, that it doesn't take a lot of work, that gives you something to work towards. And it could just be eating something healthy, right? I actually had a goal that, like, okay, I'm going to eat vegetables every day. Because I was really bad at, like, I was getting into a rut with eating fast food, and with COVID, it's okay, well, I'm going to grab a bag of chips. So I thought, no, like, that's not helping me. So my goal was just eat a vegetable every day, even if it was just one carrot. But then I would feel good about it when I did it.
Yeah.
So it helped.
There's so much power in just like crossing something off too. Like to-do lists can be a blessing and a curse. So I'm not necessarily recommending them as a mental health tip, but just to kind of jump on what you said, when you write down certain things, short, easy goals that are still important. It's not like just throw random stuff like I'm going to go drink a glass of water in 10 minutes, write it down, cross it off. That's not the point. But when you have things to do, writing them down and then crossing them off, there's a satisfaction that happens when you do that. And it is important then to have good goals and a good to-do list so that you don't end up being like, I only got one thing done. But there is something that happens when you say, I'm going to do this, and then you actually do it. And so good goal setting and just as you suggest, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, but definitely, Jamie, like, you don't want a to-do list that is too long, that overwhelms you, because that'll do the opposite effect.
Exactly.
So
yes.
Definitely make it realistic, and make it things that you really can achieve and feel good about getting done. So
yeah, what we've done, Melissa and I, actually, we've been a few weeks without doing it, but we had our what was it, big three? Yes. I think it was just we would just do three. Like, what are three things that if we get these three things done today, it's a success? And that's way easier. You can have a to-do list of 14 things that you have to get done. But when you identify the three most important things, I guess it's a productivity hack, but 3 is manageable. 15 important, massive things, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Scary. Yeah.
Definitely.
So I think for me, the key about, mental health is building that resilience, right? The resilience to deal with a crisis, and how do you do that? And like Karen said, it could be eating a vegetable. My new thing is eating 1 fruit a day. So I'm sort of doing the same thing.
Amazing.
But I would say building that resilience and how that works for you. For everyone, it's different. It might be looking at every positive situation. I try to go to a place of every situation to look from it from a positive perspective, rather than looking at, oh, this is so bad. And for some people, it's meditation, it's mindfulness, it's breathing exercises. There's a lot of great information. The government of Canada put out it's called Canada Wellness, and it's a website you can go to, and you can go into that website and you can type in, and they answer questions, and then it gives you back on the survey sort of where you're at with your mental wellness, and it gives suggestions, and it even gives suggestions of people who you can contact. So I sort of like that. And then you get the survey back every few weeks to redo it to see sort of where you're at. Because sometimes just knowing that things are getting better helps. There are a lot of other good, there's a really good workbook that Alberta Health Services put out sort of during the beginning of COVID called Taking Charge of What You Can.
Do you want me to show it so you could talk?
Sure.
Okay, just give me 1 second. I just have to reshare my screen. Window. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a toolkit that Alberta Health Services put out, and it's actually really, really good. It was sort of designed for COVID, but it actually, when you look through it, and as you can see, as Melissa's scrolling, it has all kinds of activities. about mindfulness and breathing and self-talk. And it's just a good resource that if you take the time to take that resource and use it, there's lots of really great stuff. So I think there's so many, there's a lot of great apps out there as well for mental health and building those positive things. But this one, like I said, is a good tool, and it was put up by Alberta Health Services sort of, I think, I want to say 2020, but I might be wrong. It might have been, I'm sure it was 2020. So that's sort of would be like my thought. And honestly, it's finding what works for you. Like I said, exercise is not my cup of tea, but certainly looking at things from a positive perspective is as well. So, yeah.
I actually saw on there one that I did want to bring up, which is your self-talk. So when you are talking to yourself and you're down on what's going on, to try to just realize that and try to flip it around. Like the best question I ask myself is, would I say that to my daughter? And then I'm like, oh, no, I wouldn't. Okay, well then I really shouldn't be saying it to myself. So it can be your kids or your family, your friends when you ask that question. But that's a good tip for me to realize, oh, wait a second, that's a little bit harsh, and flip it around so that I can get to that positive note that Cheryl's talking about with making every instance into a positive.
Yeah, and something else I'll add that Cheryl, you kind of alluded to earlier, or in light of what you alluded to earlier, is that what works for one person may not work the same for others. My office for most of the week is in a basement. This is my basement office. I've got a little window there, and I don't go into our campus every single day. But for me, there are times where I literally need to get outside of the house and like breathe fresh air. And so if there's the thing that I guess gives you energy, identifying the thing that gives you energy, maybe that is fresh air. Maybe that is for you exercise. Maybe that is for you taking 5 minutes with your kids. Maybe that's a phone call with a relative. When you're feeling overwhelmed, go to a place where you're going to get, I'll say, energy. And I don't mean that in like a mystical sense, but something that just gives life and naturally perks you up. Go there. Like that should be the place you go. Too often, the temptation is to go to places that actually drain you. And for me, that would be not leaving my office and just trying to deal with it. That would be a draining thing to do. It's good for me when I get overwhelmed to get out of my office and maybe go outside or something, or see the kids upstairs. Mm-hmm. That's all the questions for today, right, Melissa?
Yeah, that's all the questions.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do to close this off. One, again, if you want $25, you can win. You can enter by putting your favorite mental health tip or idea or what works for you in the comments. Some of you have done that. You have been entered. And we will be collecting these until tomorrow morning. So if you're watching the replay, you can still participate. And Melissa will run that random name generator from all the comments and announce who's won on Facebook and Instagram tomorrow. But the other thing is, again, this is Mental Health Month for us. It's going to be a big focus, and we're obviously going to be talking more about the program Cheryl teaches, our community service worker and community service worker with addictions programs. We'll be doing a workshop I mentioned at the end of the month. But if there's a question that you think would be good for us to answer or produce something for, you can put that in the comments as well. So for instance, if you want to know what is the government doing for mental health, we can curate and go find that information. Or if you are like, hey, I think it'd be really neat to see a story of a successful graduate, we're going to be doing some of those. Or if you've got a story that you think we should look at and share of a friend or a business that's doing something great that we should just feature, any ideas you have for content that we should be putting out that would be valuable to you, let us know as we cover that for the month of March. And I think that is it. We will be back next week. I don't even know what the topic is. Melissa, have you decided?
We never know. It's always a surprise.
Yeah, but again, thank you so much, Cheryl, for coming on. It is wonderful to have you as part of the AOLCC family. And I know that you make a huge contribution to our students and our staff through Calgary, but also through the other campuses you support. And so thank you for taking time out of your day. And we look
Mhm.
forward to more great stuff from you this month. And likewise, Karen, I appreciate you always being available to help me with stuff. And we're going to be doing a cool thing at the end of the month. So thank you for all that you do for our organization as well. Other than that, thanks everybody for joining us. And until next week, stay mentally healthy. All right. Have a good day, everybody.